think what has one ear, two stomachs, and thinks he's a dog?
Really? You're pulling out riddles
Is everybody paying
on
attention?
us? I'm not that clever.
Piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Happy Tippy Top Tuesday, ladies and gents. Welcome to episode 353. Welcome to Batman Forever. You're listening to another new episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Juan, and I am joined by the cast, the crew, holy social media friends, Batman. It's Zach and Jay.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going out there in podcast land? We're here today. We're discussing the 30th, to make us all feel old in this podcast, the 30th anniversary of Batman Forever.
Should be a fun conversation. 30 years of Batman Forever, and yet this is Zach's first watch, is it not, Zach?
It is. Yes,
it is. I can't wait to get into this conversation, especially the way the last two Batman movies conversations went way, way, way back in the archives. You guys can find out where we talked about Batman and Batman Returns. We've also had some discussions on the Christopher Nolan Batmans, and we've talked the Batman. So go check out those fun episodes. Fellas, how has the week gone?
I just had a question about this episode before we get started. Now, can we start comparing Batmans in this review?
I mean, sure, depending on how the conversation goes.
Awesome.
I have it in my notes here. I had some questions I want to ask Zach. So, sure, if you want to chime along, you sure can.
It's been a good week. It's been a good week for myself.
Zach, what about you, man?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I got like a full girthy list of recent reviews.
Let's dig into it then. I love hearing about what everybody has seen. So I love it so much. If you guys haven't heard, I've heard it. I love it so much that I like to take breaks in between. So like we'll discuss recent watches, maybe like one episode, take a break a time or two, and then get into another one. For everybody out there who listened to last week's episode, we had a fun conversation all about Dazed and Confused. It was last Thursday, so just a few days ago. Go back and listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts at, including Anchor, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, and by way of the PFPF, the Prescribed Films Network, the PFPN. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. So just search the Prescribed Films Network, and we pop up along with the Movie Defenders, Attack of the Killer podcasts, a bunch of others. So go check them out, and you can look up yours truly on there as well. If you want to look up the social media, it's facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. X is Cinnamon405, or you can send us an old-fashioned email at cinemen921@gmail.com. You can also check out all of my life posts and my recent watches on the Instagram page at Cine-Men Movie Podcast. So go check everything out. All the links are there for past episodes. We will be back to video form next week. For those of you that are watching live on Imisawa Productions YouTube channel. And then in just a few short weeks, you'll also be able to see the return of Friday the 14th podcast. We will be back in action July 10th. That's Thursday, July 10th. we come back for Friday the 14th podcast. So, uh, Zach, we can start with you. What is some stuff from your recent watches you want to mention?
Yeah, so I started watching Cheers on Paramount Plus. One of the main actors passed away not too long, a couple weeks ago. George Wendt, who played Norm. It's a great show. Just started season 2, and it's a classic. I'll say that.
Now
Um,
on Paramount Plus, do they have? I know with like I Love Lucy and Happy Days, they have certain episodes missing. Is that the same case with Cheers, or is it the full seasons?
I think it's all 11 seasons are on there. I think they're all full seasons as well.
Okay, I just wanted to find that out because, like I said, Taxi and I Love Lucy and all them that they should they there's episodes missing.
Yeah. I'm gonna rapid fire through. I got like two sets of lists. One theatrical releases, Ballerina, Dangerous Animals, which is like a very B movie of the year, but it was actually a great surprise. The Phoenician Scheme, How to Train Your Dragon, Materialists, the new A24 movie is one of my favorite movies of the year. Predator, Killer of Killers. Have you guys seen this on Hulu?
I've seen
Uh,
the trailer.
It's incredible. It's exactly what we want. Predator being put in different time periods, and it's awesome.
that's the animated one, right?
Yeah, it's from the same director who did Prey, and he's also doing Predator Badlands later this year.
So it's
And
just like a
then
trilogy of movies that he's doing.
yeah, I think they're all going to be interconnected in some way, but I'm not exactly sure how.
Okay.
And then today I went and saw The Life of Chuck, the new Tom Hiddleston movie. If you kind of like Stephen King, like question your life type movies, that's actually a very powerful movie. Um, first time watch, Meet Joe Black with Brad Pitt and Anthony Hopkins. That's a throwback.
Wait a minute. First time watch. What'd you think?
I liked it. It was surprising me that movie's 3 hours long, but I liked it.
Good.
Tell me you didn't sit there and go, oh, whenever he got hit by that taxi.
No, no. I mean, you saw that like a mile away, but I mean, I liked it though. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that it's got like the horrible reviews that it has, but it has like a good message to it, honestly. Bottle Rocket, which was Wes Anderson's first movie he ever did, and so now with that, and went back after seeing the Phoenician Scheme. I went back and watched Bottle Rocket. Really dug it. So now I've actually seen all of Wes Anderson's movies.
Zach,
Uh,
real quick? Did you see that Criterion is putting out his 10 filmography on Criterion?
Yes, I was
yes.
about to mention that same thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. And guess what's next month? The Criterion sale, right on time.
Yeah. I've already got the wish list packed. So, by the way, speaking of recent watches, I'll get to that in a minute. But go ahead and finish up, Zach.
Batman Forever to preview next week's episode. 28 weeks later is on Hulu. I watched it. Just got done watching it before hopping on here. I like it better than 28 days later, honestly, and I'm hoping 28 years later is going to be better. But that's next week's episode. And then, believe it or not, guys, we are halfway through 2025, so I'm trying to catch up on some movies. Hard Eyes, Love Hurts, Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, Dogman, The Alto Nights, and then Presence, which I thought was an incredibly different film that I've never seen before. So that's my list. Yeah, I've been busy.
Zach has had 40 minutes of sleep every night, and he's just been
Yes.
watching movies every day.
Yeah.
He called into work every day this week, guys, just to let you know that's how dedicated he is.
I don't mess around with this.
Hey, I'll rapid fire through mine real quick. I think the last time I talked to you guys, I checked out. I was going through my Karate Kid, Nick. I finished that up with watching Karate Kid Legends in theaters this past week. I dug it. It's my favorite since the original. Since I just went through the entire phase. The original and then the one with Jackie Chan from 2010. Those are all three real close together. But I dug it. Checked out Flight Risk. Watched Mamma Mia for the first time. Thought it was okay. And then I watched The Wiz. And then I started on my John Wick skim through. I'm gonna go through John Wick before I go see Ballerina. So I checked out John Wick 1 and 2, Batman Forever for today's episode. And thank you to a certain listener who follows on my Amazon Prime wish list. You guys have done this before to me, so you guys can just search wish list, and you can email me wish list, and I'll email you guys my Amazon wish list. And this is now like the sixth movie in the last 6 months that you guys have sent me. So thank you. And I was able to check out The Wiz for that. So The Wiz was pretty fun. Also, what's the other one that I got sent? Queer.
Yes.
I haven't watched that yet. So
But didn't you say Flight Risk was pretty good? I mean, you talked about that, and for the type of movie it is, and just the way it is, it's a really good movie.
I really enjoyed Flight Risk. I thought it was. I mean, there was one, a few tail ending stories that you could see kind of a mile away, but you can tell even though you see it coming a mile away. I think it was just very well put together. It almost also had that phone booth type feeling to it.
Mm.
And while watching it, I didn't realize it was directed by Mel Gibson until it said directed by Mel Gibson. I'm like, whoa, really?
Yeah, yeah. So it definitely has that early 2000s phone booth excitement towards it. So
And
yeah,
it is a very short movie at 95 minutes.
yeah, it's not very long at all. So if I had to recommend anything, I would probably recommend something easy to watch. I believe John Wick. Those movies are on Peacock, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, go check out John Wick before you go to the theater. And check out Ballerina. So I'm gonna check out Ballerina probably sometime this weekend before 28 years later. But Jay, what about you? What'd you check out?
I've been kind of hitting the TV shows up since we got the new King of the Hill coming out on August 4th. There's 13 seasons to get through, and I'm on almost season 8 of King of the Hill. And to give myself a break, I went through and watched some of My Name is Earl. I don't know if anybody out there watches that show. That show is a great story. Jason Lee, Jamie Presley, Ethan Suplee. And then just another palate cleanser. I watched Kevin Smith's 4:30 movie today. After just to enjoy. It's a short movie. It's an hour and 15, 20 minutes, and just goes by pretty quickly. And then I watched Batman Forever. And after watching Batman Forever, I had to go back and rewatch some of the original to clean my palate. So
89 or 66?
89.
Okay.
Hell, the 66 would have probably cleaned my palate too. At least I would have had some. At least I would have had some shark repellent spray.
Speaking of TV shows, guys, don't forget we are going to have a conversation topic list in sometime in August or September. We're going to have a top 5 plus 5 TV shows, greatest TV shows of all time, starting probably in August. We'll count down and do 6 through 10 or 10 through 6 in part 1, and then 5 through 1 in part 2. So that's coming as well. Great recent watches and recommendations. Anything else anybody else wants to add to that?
Just enjoy what you like.
So we're getting ready to enjoy this topic of conversation. So
I have a question before we begin, though.
uh-oh. What's
Riddle
up?
me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
Zach.
With this one, I am, yes.
Let's dig into it. Today we're talking the 30th anniversary of Batman Forever with the release date of June 16th, 1995. The budget was $100 million. It grossed a little over $336 million at the box office. IMDb with a rating of 5.4. Rotten Tomatoes is at 39%. The Metascore is 54%. The Letterboxd is a 2.5, starring Val Kilmer, Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey, Nicole Kidman, Chris O'Donnell, Michael Goff, Pat Hingle, Drew Barrymore, directed by Joel Schumacher. Batman must battle former district attorney Harvey Dent, who is now Two-Face, and Edward Nygma, the Riddler, from help with a young circus acrobat who ends up becoming his sidekick, Robin. Zach, we'll start with you, since this was your first and only time watch. With just one short word, what'd you think?
Cringe.
Cringe.
Capital cringe.
Capital cringe.
Have you seen Batman Forever yet?
Do what?
Have you seen Batman Forever or Batman and Robin yet? I'm sorry.
No, I refuse to watch that one. I've heard all the
Okay,
horror stories about
okay, then you think this is cringe? This is a masterpiece compared to Batman and Robin.
that. I don't know.
I'll go next because I think when I got introduced to Batman, I was so young when Batman and Batman Returns came out that I was probably put in front of a TV and made to watch it. But like, this is the movie that I like grew up on. Like, I was 5 when it came out. You know, merchandise, T-shirts, repeatedly watching it. So like, this is the Batman movie I grew up on. And then of course I eventually watched all the others. So this is like always embedded into my mind as Batman, but like after watching it today, it almost became background noise because even though I was watching the screen, I was just nails on a chalkboard. And we'll kind of get it. We'll kind of get into it a little bit later on. Jerry, what about you, Jay? First time
Jerry?
watch, first
First,
time watch compared to now.
my first time watched. Remember back in the days when like HBO and CBS and all them used to have making of specials on TV to show you what's coming out here recently. They
Mhm.
did one of those with Batman Forever, and Chris O'Donnell hosted it. He drove the Batmobile, and he kind of introduced all the new aspects of the movie. And I seen that a couple days before going to the theater, so my hype level was pretty, high. And what made my hype level even higher was during the trailers they show Ace Ventura 2. And I'm like, oh, shoot, we're getting an Ace Ventura 2 and he's doing Batman. And so the hype level was real, and then the movie started, and then things just started to escalate from there. I seen the Batmobile. I was like, what the hell is this? You know, Robin being 26 years old, needing to shave already. He's got a goatee and beard. You
Mm.
know, I was just like, what is this? Because I growing up, you said this was your Batman, Juan. My Batman was Michael Keaton. I was 13 years old when this came. I was 13 years old when this came out. I was supposed to be their target demographic for this film, and they completely failed on all fronts with me on it. The only thing they kind of got me a little bit on was Nicole Kidman. She is fine as could be in this movie. She is wow.
What's your comparison to now? How was it like revisiting the episode for today?
Same as you. I was kind of just like background noise. I've seen it so many times that I could hear like little things on the screen, sound effects, and I know exactly where they're at in the film because
I will say the 4K edition looked and sounded stunning, but other than that, that's the only pass I think this movie gets from me today. Even watchability, we're huge on rewatchability. This is a childhood movie for me.
Mhm.
Unless I'm honestly going through a Batman marathon, I don't know if I'm ever going to pick this up again. My 3-year-old's attention span is usually pretty cool with cool cars and Batman, and he didn't even want to keep his eye on the screen. Um,
well, see where this one fails is that it tries to be the toy commercial that Batman and Robin was, and it also tries to be the Tim Burton Batman, and it's lost somewhere in between.
See, I know this movie fumbled a lot, but I don't think this movie even attempted to be a Tim Burton recreation.
Well, I mean, with the darkness that they were trying to portray, like the storyline aspects of Bruce Wayne confronting his fears of can I be Batman or can I actually have a normal life? Because they actually cut out quite a bit of Bruce Wayne's arc
Well,
on
well,
him becoming Batman forever, him making that decision to become Batman forever.
to me though, this one could almost be this one could almost be, and Zach, you can chime in since you're the first time watch. to me, this one can be a standalone movie and has nothing to do really with the first two.
I could agree, except whenever they sit there and spout those couple little lines, they could have took those out, and we would have been none the wiser.
Because Bruce Wayne doesn't kind of face any kind of fears in movie one or two.
He's just very, very brooding.
Yeah.
Can I just say that, and
And I hold on before you say that. It's like I do want to let Jay and the listeners know what Zach is about to say is not anywhere different from movie one or two. If you guys go back and listen to the archives, he did not like Batman or Batman Returns. Even for Zach, some of those movies were too campy. So I knew this one was going to be just brutal.
okay, so in my defense, can I just say in my defense, like you guys grew up with this movie, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
All four of them actually.
Okay, so during 95, okay, so 95, I actually had kidney cancer during that time, so I had my own set of issues. So I really wasn't, I'm not like the movie fan
Right.
that I am then. I wasn't a Batman fan. I wasn't a superhero fan. You couldn't even pay me to watch. You couldn't even like beg me to watch Batman as a kid. My first exposure to Batman, and this is not like being hoity-toity or anything. My first experience Batman in the theater was The Dark Knight. So that I was 16 when that came out. And that to me is just like that to me showed like, oh, okay, Batman can be more than just camp and cringe. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, this is actually what Batman should be. And so,
But the ones you call camp and cringe, those were considered, at least Batman Returns and Batman, the original Batman, those were considered serious takes. Those were not considered camp at all. Those were considered real legit serious takes.
I already got like 10 hate mails. I can already say this. The Michael Keaton Batman, I mean, I agree with you. I think Tim Burton was trying to do a much more, maybe not Nolan take on it, but much more accurate, like comic book version of Batman. And this is like the Michael Bay version of Batman.
Well, if you watch those two original Batmans, then they were forever serious, dark, and very Tim Burton-like. Today, they are still very Tim Burton-like, but they age well, but they don't age like probably other 90s movies probably do. If that makes any sense. But
no, and that's fine. I know, and that's kind of the interesting thing about talking about a Batman movie is that there's different layers to it. Like it's kind of like Star Wars, where you have the original trilogy, the prequels, and the sequel trilogy. In this, you have the Adam West '60s Batman, which my mom grew up watching, and she liked that. You guys have the Michael
I grew up
Keaton.
watching the Adam West because it was on in the afternoon on TV every day.
Yeah, and so you got exposed to that. You guys grew up with like the Kilmer and the Keaton and the Clooney, and I grew up with Christian Bale. So it's just like there's many different. It's a generational thing almost, where it's just like you look back. Like in my opinion, I don't think these are good movies, but and maybe someone that grew up with the Ben Affleck Batman, they think the Christian Bale's movies are not good. So it's just kind of it's a very opinionated topic.
Oh no! Looking back at it now, I grew up with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, and those are not good movies. So
see, I also grew up with, and I think one did as well. We grew up with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as our Batman and Joker because of the Batman the Animated Series. That I look at that show, and then later on Batman Beyond, as those are my definitive Batmans. Yes, I love the Michael Keaton Batmans. I love the movies that became out. But to me, the definitive, here's what the comic books actually can encompass and be serious, even campy when they need to be, is Batman the Animated Series.
And the Batman animated series, I'll admit that I've seen several episodes of that. That is actually like a really well done animated show. It's very impressive.
And plus, Kevin Conroy done. If you played any of the Arkham games, then you've heard Kevin Conroy's voice for hours upon hours on end.
And I mean, speaking of, I saw Life of Chuck today, and Mark Hamill's in that. It's like you would never think in a million years he could be an awesome Joker. So
But see, what about the okay, let's talk about some of the two villains in this movie. We had Riddler, who was extreme and over the top, and then you had Tommy Lee Jones, who was playing Joker too. And that's what I always thought, because even growing up as a fan of Two-Face, I realized that he had a serious side and he had a side that, there was a split personality there. He was just completely goofy in this.
I will say that the only saving grace to this film, in my opinion, was the performances of Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones is like just all in on it, and he has like Play-Doh like on one side of his face. But I mean, but if you really think about it,
So he just smeared a bunch of purple makeup on the side of his face and was like, "Well, there he is. That's done."
exactly.
Didn't
But
even try to make it look like a burn.
no, and a bit, but I enjoyed that, like the over the top performance. And if you really think about it, the Riddler is literally just another Jim Carrey character that he did in the 90s, essentially. I mean, it's one of those like really over the top campy, but it's Jim Carrey, so you're gonna laugh.
But Frank Gorshin, who was our only known Riddler before the Jim Carrey version, he acted very much like that too.
Yeah.
And then you get Paul Dano and do like it's like a very like terrorist organization type
you
thing.
You have a guy who pretty much is Jigsaw, and then you have the Jim Carrey and Frank Gorshin versions that I've sat there and when I sat there and rewatched some of the Batman 66 episodes, I'm sitting there watching them. I was like, "Hey, this plot sounds familiar." And I'm like, "Holy hell! They use this in Batman Forever. They use this in Batman Return. This whole scene right here is from Batman." And I didn't realize how much that they actually used from the 1966 TV show for the four Batman anthology movies.
What do we, is that going to be the ultimate factor? Let's just say this movie celebrated 30 years, and only very, 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 very few select theaters celebrated its 30th anniversary. None around us in these good old Midwest parts of Oklahoma. But this movie 30 years later, is that what this movie is going to be memorized for? Is a over-the-top campy presence of Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey? Or now, as I rephrase this, is that what it's going to be memorized, or is it going to be the tragic death of Val Kilmer and be like, man, he was once a beloved, he is a once beloved actor, but where is his Batman lined up with everybody else's?
I'd say mid. He's mid.
Which isn't his fault, by the way.
George, by barometer. Now, we're not going to go back and rank the guys that were in the 1940s that done Batman for the serials and stuff like that. But, we'll start with like Adam West and move on up. It depending on the person, depending on the how they grew up with the movies. But I guarantee on most people's list, George Clooney would be on the bottom of that list.
Well, and what's fun about George Clooney is that he acknowledges that movie is so terrible. Like he always apologizes when someone brings it up.
Which I think is kind of blasphemy. I don't think an actor should have to apologize for his work when he's not the one who wrote the script, wrote the story, wrote the costume design. He didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's kind of sad that some of these fans take this stuff so seriously.
But he accepted the paycheck to play that character that way.
So he's got to apologize for putting dinner on the table?
I'm not saying he's got to apologize. You got to sit there in movies, man. You got to sit there and look at how they can crash. Because George Lucas said it best when he was making episode 1. He's like, you can kill these things. They could be gigantic things like this, but you can just do one bad thing with the creation, and it kills it all. And he was talking about Star Wars. He was scared. When he made episode 1, he was scared that he was going to ruin Star Wars by making episode 1.
Well, a lot of people think he did ruin Star Wars because of episode 1. Not me, but I mean, a lot of people that hate the prequels.
I mean, he almost single-handedly did. So,
Disney just finished the job.
Yeah.
But no,
So we talked about the villains. W- oh,
No, let me ask you guys something. Do you think that this is? I'm looking at the cast, and do you think that this is a situation where it was the right moment, right time? Because the year before this, or a couple years before this, Val Kilmer had Tombstone. Jim Carrey was one of the biggest stars in that time in the 1990s. I think Tommy Lee Jones either just came off or was a couple years off. Yeah, 2 years
was
away
off the
from
client.
the client, and he won his Oscar for The Fugitive a couple years before. Do you think this is kind of like, oh, these are like the
well,
hot actors at the time?
no. So Jerry, let's kind of smarten Zach up and go back a few years prior because Tim Burton was supposed to do the third movie.
Yes.
Right.
Do you want to roll through and let us know what the cast was supposed to be with Tim
Okay.
Burton?
And
The
Keaton was
Tim
supposed to come back, right?
Okay, here's the cast. Batman was Michael Keaton. Dr. Chase Meridian was Renee
Rene Russo.
Renee Russo. Harvey Dent was Billy D. Williams. They were going to split him half white, half black. Harley Quinn was supposed to be in the movie. It was supposed to be Joker's daughter, and Jack Nicholson was supposed to come back as an hallucination. And what else am I forgetting?
Robin Williams was supposed to be the Riddler.
Robin Williams was being screwed with by Warner Brothers to come back. And here's the biggest kicker: Marlon Wayans. Yes, Marlon Wayans from In Living Color and the Wayans brothers was cast as Robin. They had to pay him twice, once for this movie and once for Batman Returns.
Wow.
So this movie, this go ahead.
They even had to pay Billy D. Williams his contract because they had already signed him up to be Two-Face whenever they made the original Batman.
So like this movie was very like just cursed from the beginning because Burton didn't return, and if Burton didn't return, Keaton didn't want to return. So this movie was kind of scrapped, but yet thrown together last second anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It shows. I mean, it's
so in all reality, this is the Batgirl that we probably got a few years ago that was scraped and nobody saw.
I still want to see that.
Which I've heard from people that have seen that movie that got a chance to see it. It's actually one of the best things Warner Brothers has done. Supposedly, Michael Keaton is in that movie as Batman.
He is.
And it's something way better than what The Flash was and some of those last Snyder DC films.
So it seems like was it last year when we talked Aquaman and we talked the death of the DCEU, like this movie it kind of started some of that bad fortune way back when. Well, speaking of some of the other side characters, what'd you guys think of Two-Face's chicks, his side chicks?
Oh, Debbie Mazar and Drew Barrymore, Sugar and Spice.
Yeah.
God.
I thought it was a nice little touch, but knowing the Harvey Dent from the comic book, they weren't needed.
Also, I felt like
they were eye candy.
Two-Face's goons were kind of like just awful.
Maskell's villains.
Awful.
You know what I thought? I was like, they're bringing it back 66 style because look, at any time a bad guy had villains, what did they always have? They had matching outfits, and they all, you know what I mean? They all matched the repertoire. If they matched Two-Face, they had green suspender because they matched the Riddler. They even wore clown makeup because they were with the Joker. And
I'm just glad.
And that happens in the Dark Knight.
I'm just glad Zach's on this episode, so I didn't have to suffer alone, and I wasn't the only one who talked crap about this movie.
Let me ask you something then, because it's like I'm going to be honest with you. People are not going to think I'm being serious, but I tried to give this movie a chance and be like, okay, let's put the phone in the other room. Let's just see what Batman was back in the 90s, and it didn't go so well. But since you grew up with this, what was it like on this rewatch? You're like, this is not good, this is awful.
Who are you asking?
Either of y'all.
I'll answer too.
First off, I love you for that, Zach. Second off, This movie is just it's bad. It's overall bad. The lines directed or the lines the what's it called? The dialogue written in the
Yeah.
movie. Um, the
So cringe.
Yeah, and you would think, oh, this time around, I was like, okay, it can't be that bad. Tom Lee Jones is in this. My movie knowledge has gotten way better since I was 6 years old. Val Kilmer just passed away. I'm gonna love seeing him on the screen as Batman again. Nicole Kidman, I just saw her
Baby girl.
Baby Girl. She's smoking, right? She's gonna do her job. She's gonna do exactly what she needs to do. The lines delivered were just so bad. Believe me, the actors to me did their job, but it still felt the way they were written and the way they were probably being told to deliver was just kind of god awful. Like the
Well,
the circus scenes,
oh god.
the circus scene was kind of, uh, you
Chris
know, uh,
O'Donnell is just
Well,
atrociously bad in this.
well, if you sit there and think about it, though, some of the scenes that you're talking about, those are just the prototype scenes for what comes later on in Batman and Robin. Because from that movie on, they take all these over the top moments from Batman Forever, and it's complete over the topness and over the top cringe. It's complete just they turned it up to 100. They took every scene that people hated from Batman Forever, threw it in Batman and Robin, and turned it up to 11.
yeah, but in this movie as a standalone movie, it's still like not even thinking about Batman and Robin. It's still just as bad. Like,
When this movie came out, a lot of critics and fans alike enjoyed the movie for the lighthearted take. Parents enjoyed it because it was more lighthearted. Jim Carrey was funny. Everything. You know what I mean? All those things. But then after Batman and Robin came out, they started looking at it at a lesser light.
even without thinking of Batman and Robin, this movie just flops 30 years later. I can see why no movie theater who's already struggling wanted to take a risk, who wanted to take a risk and put any money into this 30th anniversary, because
So like, come on, guys, it's Batman Forever. Come on.
the only thing hard about this movie is Tommy Lee Jones's crazy hair with how much hairspray he used. That's the only thing that goes hard about this movie.
I don't know. Nicole Kidman goes pretty hard in this movie.
And you mentioned Nicole Kidman, Johnny, is like she's a great actress. I mean, she obviously she's won an Oscar and everything. She is god awful on this. Like she is literally a horny psychiatrist that has the hots for Batman. That's literally her only. It's terrible.
And you know what? I applaud that. I applaud that character because, F it, why not? They needed someone that. Tell me if that's like not kind of an ironic situation where they have a therapist who knows this person is crazy and knows he's just, he has probably split personality and he's dangerous, but for some reason the female side of her wants him while the technical side of her brain is like, I should leave him alone.
But it's like so cliche though, looking back at it now. Like, what crazy, hypnotized therapist doesn't find some of their patients attractive? Like, oh, on one side he's completely, like you said, and then the other side of her just doesn't want anything to do with it at all. It's like, probably could have went another route, but I get they just wanted to use, Nicole Kidman for a
Eye candy, essentially.
Yeah.
She did her damn job completely in this movie.
I mean, she's beautiful in it. Don't get me wrong; she's a very incredibly beautiful woman in that movie. But damn,
just sit there and think after this, how many DC movies she's actually done. She's played Aquaman as the mom a couple times.
I think that's it.
Yeah, she's down with the playing the DC people. But
I thought, which one is it? Go ahead, Jay.
I was going to mention the biggest. It is this film, correct? The biggest monumental soundtrack song ever to be produced for a Batman soundtrack. It's from this movie, right? "Kiss from a Rose."
Or is it the Prince song from the first Batman movie?
No, this one's "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal. It has, I think it's this one. And that song is not about Batman. It is about some illicit drugs and some other things.
Well,
I have listened. It is Woo! For being a Batman song, you're like, oh man, they got a drug use song for Batman. Cool, cool.
Well, I mean, they just used it, right? Seal didn't actually make it for Batman.
No, Joe Schumacher was like, I really like this song. I don't care what it's about. I really like this song. It needs to be on the Batman soundtrack. And so it was like, okay.
That worked out good.
Hey, Zach, let me let you know that this movie was nominated for 3 Oscars.
I know. I got it in my notes.
It was nominated for Best Sound Effects, Best Sound, and Best Cinematography.
Thank God it lost a Braveheart. So
could you imagine if this this English Patient of a movie was actually won an Oscar?
Dude, I will watch The English Patient 5 more times before I see this ever again.
I've never seen. I'll watch this before The English Patient. That Seinfeld episode told me all I needed to know. But this was the very first Batman film to have a CGI Batman used in the film.
Oh yeah, this did have great CGI in it. 30 years later.
Well, it was the very first time they ever used a CGI. Whenever they're flying him around on the helicopter, that's a CGI Batman.
Ugh. Yeah.
They should have just left that alone.
I'm just surprised. I really thought I was going to be like the jerk on this episode, and like I would have to defend myself. I'm just shocked that Johnny is just like, no, this is terrible, and I like regret my choices.
No, I'm not saying it's good by any means. I'm just trying to defend it a little bit. You know, like Holy Rusted Metal Batman, they threw that line in there, and that was a good usage of it. You guys can't disagree with that one.
Anything that they tried to do in this movie, including any lines from the 60s, should have been left in the 60s.
And
but that's called fan service, guys.
No, there's no fan service with Batman Forever.
But that's the thing that I think is the biggest problem with this, and I think you mentioned it, was that they tried to keep the dark tone of Tim Burton, and it ended up being like a mix of that and like the 60s era Batman, and it doesn't flow good at all.
That's exactly my point. You know, it has a dark undertone where because they have a cut called the Red Book cut where they restitch all the stuff that was deleted out of the movie, and the first thing that happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie, it shows Arkham Asylum, and it transitions to Two-Face's room, and he's murdered 2 guards, and he uses their blood to write that he's going after Batman out on his wall. Seriously, that's how the movie originally began.
That even sounds horrible. I feel like I see when you say that, I picture a crazy Tommy Lee Jones just writing with a red marker.
Oh no, this is blood. He got so big old globs of it in his hand, like Batman coming for you, second bank, 12 o'clock noon, be there.
I will say, anytime Tommy Lee Jones is like, no, I'm like laughing my ass off. It is so over the top.
And let's not get the way Batman defeats the Riddler and his head gets all CGI deformed.
Oh, dude.
And you're just like, what in the Scooby-Doo magic is going on?
I'll defend that. I'm going to defend that. You know how that happened?
No.
Here's my defense. No. Here, hopefully you guys will understand. My defense of that situation is as he's sucking all the information, you know what I mean, through that prism above his head, and when Batman destroys it, it distorts that prism, and therefore it distorts his head, and it causes a deformity.
That's exactly what happened to Megamind.
Well, this happened before Megamind.
Okay, Jay, I applaud your attempt to defend that, but no, it cannot be defended.
Well, I didn't say it was a good defense. I just said I'm going to defend it.
Johnny, I'm not even joking. I literally was about to send you a pic of that scene and be like, really? Do we really have to talk about this?
You know what my favorite lines from the movie is when Jim Carrey's wearing that light up jacket and he's talking to Cole Kidman. And he's like, "You like my jacket? It keeps me safe while walking at night." I don't know why That line cracks me up so much.
Oh.
Joel,
There's some comedy gold in this damn movie. Don't even.
Like I said, it's Jim Carrey in the '90s, so I can appreciate that. I will say that.
But see, the biggest one of the weirdest things that I sit there that came out of this movie is that Tommy Lee Jones hated Jim Carrey, and he straight up told him, like, "I don't like your buffoonery," and I'm sitting there thinking, what are you doing, Mr. Jones? How are you playing Two-Face? You're playing him like the biggest goofball I've ever seen, dude.
Well, and again, when you have Play-Doh and like styrofoam on the side of your face, that doesn't help your cause.
oh my gosh, I
See,
can't believe we're talking about this.
see, they went from like the weird comic, like some weird like amalgamation of this is what
Okay,
acid looks
there's
like, and
there's
then they went the far in Dark Knight, the Dark Knight with Two-Face, and that was pretty gruesome.
there's no defending this, and if anybody wants to hit the button and try to defend it, at the end when Batman's trying on his new suit, why does he got to turn around and you got to see his G-string?
The ladies in the audience, that's all it is. Then
Like,
they have to bring the ladies too, so we got the obligatory, like, we get
Dude.
obligatory shots.
like, are we trying to just show everybody what a badass looks like?
Quite literally, styrofoam and like rubber.
Hey,
And then I don't know if it was the nostrils that Val Kilmer just couldn't breathe, but sometimes after he delivered a line, it sounded like he was menstruating after he delivered a line. He just like breathed really heavy, like
it's
your
because the
he's like your tailor who made it.
it's because seriously, bro, on set that costume was so damn restrictive on him.
They couldn't edit that out. He sounded like an asthma patient.
Hey man, Warner Brothers just sat there like, we got to get this shit rushed out. We ain't got time to worry about it. Val Kilmer sounded like he's breathing right. Just get it out in the theaters.
I'm sure Val Kilmer was like, Tom Cruise has come back to haunt me from Top Gun. Like he's wanting this movie to be ruined.
Exactly. Oh God. I mean,
Now,
crazy.
now the whole thing. Seriously, Batman kills Two-Face in this movie, and he kills two thugs.
They broke that's why this movie went downhill. They broke the golden rule.
Because remember, whenever Two-Face takes that missile gun and he shoots it at the Batmobile, and Batman scoots out of the way and hits that car full of people, there were two people in that car that like kablooied.
Oh, you mean the scene where Two-Face falls into a CGI chasm, and then you see a hand slowly go underwater. That's supposed to say that character's dead.
Yeah, Batman killed him.
Yeah.
Technically, the coins killed him.
Who threw the coins?
That's true. Kilmer did it again.
They didn't give two damns about Batman's no killing rules in any of these damn movies.
And
Okay,
They were just like, let's kill them all, and they were like, it's
and
Batman.
then did you like that line? Here's your coin. Just throws the coin up in the air.
Bro, that would have made more sense if they would have had that cheesy ass line. Just imagine some coin after Batman flicks all those coins. He said some stupid bat pun that has to do with coins. I can't come up with nothing right now but it's just like cling.
And then you have there is some pretty good cheese in this movie though, about like when Robin saves Two-Face and he's like, I'd rather see you in jail.
Oh.
Even when Val Kilmer is trying to be serious with Alfred, and he's like, and you're encouraging him when Alfred is trying to get.
Damn. We just completely left movies.
That's how much cheese is in this movie. My throat's getting clogged up talking about it.
Yeah,
you even have Val Kilmer trying to be serious with Alfred, and it's like
It
even
doesn't
some of
work.
these tones aren't working with it. It's just I don't know, man.
a
I
lot of Val Kilmer's deliverance as Bruce Wayne was very stoic, kind of like, I killed him, Alfred. I don't know what to do. I did
Who
it. I
that's
did it for the Rock.
who am I?
that's video game acting right there.
Mm. Who am I, Alfred? I can't
We
even
have
say it.
we have
Oh.
a young guy that now lives with us. Do people think we might be gay? I don't know. We'll pretend that I have hot women around me all the time now.
Uh, before we talk favorite Val Kilmer, we're gonna talk favorite Val Kilmer performance, not movie, if that makes any sense. But
The
before
performance in this movie or just performance
no.
in general?
We're just gonna ask. I wanted to shed some kind of positivity with this movie. So instead of taking the time to do a completely top 5 list, because those are now reserved for episodes, we're just gonna name our favorite Val Kilmer movie. Um, but before we get to that, let's try to shed some light on this movie, and let's ask you guys, what's a favorite scene from Batman Forever? I'll go first. My favorite scene, if I can be serious for a minute, is going to be. I thought it was really cool to see the Riddler and Two-Face break into Wayne Manor, and when they went down and destroyed the Batcave, and you see the Riddler set off all the explosives and the way he blew up the Batmobile and all the suits. I thought that was pretty cool because you never really got to see a bad guy in the Batcave until that point. So I thought it was always pretty cool as a kid, including now, today. That is one scene where I stopped what I was doing, which was just foaming at the mouth, really. So I stopped foaming at the mouth and I just watched that scene for what it was, and I enjoyed it. It was still a pretty kick-ass scene. So, Zach, what about you?
Uh,
He has none.
does the credits count when directed by
Dun,
Joel
dun,
Schumacher came on?
dun,
That,
dun,
so,
dun, dun,
so the
dun.
you enjoyed them you enjoyed them running to the credits because
Uh,
they were afraid of this movie.
You
yeah.
enjoyed that U2 song instead of it started, didn't you? You got to pick.
I really
You
don't have a
have
favorite scene.
you have nothing. There's
Okay,
just
like
not one ironical little chuckle or just
if
that
I
was
had to
kind of
pick
clever.
something, probably anytime Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones are on screen, like to kind of together because it's just so bad shit crazy. I'll go with that.
Nice. Jay, what about you? You got a favorite scene?
I have a couple. I do like the scene where there's the Jim Carrey or Riddler and Two Face are going on their jewel heist, and Two Face is trying to show him how to punch somebody. He's like, "You baller fist, and just pull it back, and boom." And I'm like, and it just it seems so stupid and so absurd for a Batman movie, but it worked. And then just there's a couple scenes where the Batmobile chases. I thought those were, you know, they were done on multi-tiered because we've never, up until this film, we never really had a Batmobile chase. If you sit there and thought about it, we've had the Batmobile show up to a place and do a couple things, and then there's no more streets because we're in the middle of downtown Gotham. This time it just drove around and done stuff, climbed up walls and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Hmm.
Let's dig into favorite. I mean, we already talked favorite scene.
Oh, another favorite scene, real quick before we go. This scene is the best scene in the entire movie. I don't care what Zach says. He needs to know that this is the best. It's when Robin sits there and does his laundry all ninjutsu style and sits there and cleans up his mess. Like, I got this, Al. That's the best scene in the movie.
I literally had to pause the movie and step away from it for a little bit after that. After I saw that, like, let me take lunch. Let me take lunch, and I'll be right back.
There's so much good in this movie.
Let's talk star rating. I'll go first. Man, a lot of it has to do with just how much cheese is involved in this movie. It just does not age. It's kind of hard to sit through. Even some of the great performances by some actors who have won Oscars doesn't do this movie trick. It does kind of still bring back some nostalgia for me, whether it be the soundtrack, the toys, the merchandise, the bat suit. Um, but man, just watching it, knowing what I know now, trying to be serious about watching this movie, man, rewatchability just does not hit for me, and it's sad because I really used to like the cheese of this movie. But today I'm going to give this movie a 2 stars out of 5. Uh, so,
Damn.
so yeah, that's me. Jay, what about you?
I'm gonna be a little bit nicer just because, like I said, I'm one of those guys. I can sit there, smoke a joint, and find the faults just to be kind of funny. It's a little bit different with Batman and Robin, but with this one, I can sit there and go, okay, I kind of get what they were going for here and there, you know. But I grew up with the cheese and and everything like that, so it just comes across as less cringier than most. I don't know why. It just feels natural. So I give it a 3.
Zach?
It's well, it's a 1. I hated it.
You're never allowed on this show again when we discuss Batman, Zach.
Oh no,
Never,
no.
never.
I'll just say, you guys do Batman and Robin. I'm out. I'm not doing that.
How
Fun,
about Batman?
fun.
How about Batman Mask of the Phantasm?
We already done that.
We did
Damn
that.
it! I missed that one.
Fun fact: this third entry was supposed to be called Batman and Robin, and the fourth installment was supposed to be called Batman Forever. Little fun fact.
I wanted to
Uh,
see. I wanted to see Batman triumphant.
Favorite Val Kilmer movie? I'm gonna go first, just because I'm not gonna say Tombstone because that's cliche, and that is my honestly favorite uh Val Kilmer movie. But if I had to pick a close second, it's gonna be Heat from 1995.
Okay, can we just sit there and say that we all agree number one is that movie?
Tombstone.
Yes, Tombstone's like everybody's number one, but then we're gonna be like, okay, another number. Can we just do that?
Zach, what about? Yeah, sure. I don't know if Zach likes Tombstone though. Do you like Tombstone, Zach?
Never seen Tombstone.
Oh
What?
my God! What's in the box?
Oh God, you're out of the club. That's it. You headed your license.
Uh,
Hey,
fa- favorite Val Kilmer movie, Zach?
Johnny knows I've been trying to get out for the last like 2 years. That's all I had to say was I've never seen Tombstone.
No, if you said
Um,
Godfather, that'd have been
dude,
different.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I was looking at his filmography. I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but if I probably the next cliche answer, and I hate to do it, but probably Top Gun. I would put Top Gun Maverick in there as well, but that's more of a cameo scene than the actual Iceman performance in the original.
Jay?
See, like I said, I'm gonna go with the number one. But you said Heath. That's a very good another chance. But then I remember a small movie he did back in 1997 or 98 called The Ghost in the Darkness. That was pretty cool.
About the lion, right? Or the tiger?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good one
Wasn't it with
too.
Michael Douglas?
That's true. Yeah.
What was it called? The Ghost in the what?
Ghost in the Darkness. Michael Douglas, I think Marlon Brando, or no, that's Alan Dr. Moreau. I'm thinking.
No, yeah.
Oh,
That
Wilkinson.
that
Yeah,
that came out on Blu-ray a few years ago. I finally snagged it up.
he did. He is celebrating 30 years this year, so we might have to
It's
do.
got Michael
all-
Douglas and Val Kilmer, where they're in the jungle and they're trying to hunt down this lion, and it's like this like majestic like mystical creature that they're trying to do. And another one of his is called Thunderbird or Thunderheart. Would you look that up real quick, Zach, for me and clarify? It's Thunderheart. It came out in 1992. It plays an FBI detective that goes to an Indian reservation land because there's a murder.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
Thunderheart.
Yeah,
It's streaming on Pluto.
yeah. Graham Greene and Sam Shepard's in it as well.
And Fred Ward.
David Crosby. Yeah.
Listen to some movies you didn't think I know, but probably would. What up?
Another close second is him being Mr. Morrison in The Doors. That's also a good movie.
Oh, Jim Morrison. Oh, I forgot the Doors. Oh, I forgot the Doors.
Yeah.
He has so many that you could just sit there and
When you Google his
go
movies, what do you think is
because
number
they're so
one?
special for so many different reasons.
Top,
Like him playing Jim Morrison was.
Top Gun.
I'd say
Yep.
the Doors.
Top Gun, Tombstone, Batman Forever, Top Gun Maverick, Heat, and The Doors are like his top 5 or top movies that come up.
Nice. I think that's going to do it for this conversation of Batman Forever. Zach, before we run out of here, what are we doing next week?
Next week, like I talked about in recent watches, if you are curious, 28 Weeks is on Hulu. If you want to go check that out, it is a standalone movie from 28 Days Later. But next week, we are talking about 28 Years Later. So
It's 28 days later anywhere.
28. I like 28 Days Later. I just
Well,
don't
I
get
just
like
I
the hype
just
of
want
it.
to. I just want to go through. It's been so long since I've seen the first two. I want to go back and watch the first two.
I think I don't. I can't. I don't really know because obviously we haven't
All
seen
right.
28 Years Later. But you may not even need to see those two to see this one. But
All right.
you never know.
All right.
If you need to watch it, 28 Days Later is streaming free on Pluto.
Okay.
And then 28 Weeks is on Hulu.
Awesome. There we go.
But Zach, before we get out of here, go ahead. What's in July? We have a packed month of July.
It's going to be a out of the park. Speaking of which,
Out of the park. Yeah.
our first episode of July the 1st, right before July 4th, we're talking about Angels in the Outfield, continuing our, believe it or not, our reconnaissance conversation because he is in Angels in the Outfield. So that'll be July the 1st. July the 8th, we go back to the theater. And I think pretty much from here on out is pretty much a lot of theatrical releases. July the 8th, we're talking about Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm hoping it's better than Dominion. July the 15th, we're talking about the new Superman. July 22nd, oh, Jesus. July 22nd, we're talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer, the requel, I'm guessing. Is that what it's going to be?
Yep.
And then we end the month, July 29th, with Fantastic Four First Steps. So it is going to be a packed July. So be there with us.
Be there, be square.
Can't wait. Next week, we end June with 28 Years Later. It should be a fun conversation. Join us next week for an all-new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.